All right, I am back. Let me go ahead and start recording this. Yep, back. Even though I said I was going to record, I was going to record every day. Recorded that one day and that was it. But I'm going to tell you again, I'm going to record every day this week. I think I'm going to make it a mission, especially with it being draft week. I need to record. I need to make sure I have something. I've been listening to other YouTubers here lately, so I need to really get on it. But today, I'm going over PFF, their draft board. Actually, I probably need to update the name. I don't know if I know how to do that yet. Let me see. To the live stream, let me see if I know how to do that. If I know how to do that, I probably will update the name. But we're, as you see right here on the left side, now I'm going to do it in terms of fantasy football content because I don't know how to do it any other way. Because looking at Abdul Carter and all these other people, doesn't help us, to be honest with you. It's good to know who they, how PFF has them ranked, but really doesn't truly help us for real. So, but we do see Travis Hunter at the top, but they have him at the top as corner. I can dive deeper into PFF, and you can see Travis Hunter, his ranks are actually pretty good when you actually start looking at his metrics and whatnot. But to put him as the number one wide receiver, I'm not sure. I'm not totally sure on that. Because I don't know if I would say he's the top receiver in this class, but everybody else seems to say he has different skills and that he should be. But to be honest with you, I'm not totally sure about that. But we'll see. But let's do this. This is how I like to break it down. So I like to go to quarterbacks, and this is usually how I start off. So as we see here, Cam Ward is number one here, and with Cam Ward but he's 20th on the PFF rank, and that it gives me like a little bit of cause. Just to honestly, I paused when was seeing that being a 20th ranked quarterback, just because when I look at other years. Let's even go to last year. I go to other years, and if I'm just strictly looking at quarterbacks, you have Caleb Williams 1 on the PFF rank. Drake made 3. Now, Jaden Daniels was 21, which gives me a little bit of hope, but that's him being in a tough quarterback class. J.J. McCarthy was 28, Bo Nix was 35, Penix was 36. Who was after that? And then you have Rattler. And to me, it seems like if you're not on PFF's top 50, as far as the quarterback side, at least in the top 50, it makes you wonder, because you have guys like Michael Pratt, Jordan Travis, Joe Milton, who has some buzz. I didn't realize Joe Milton was 6'5". 6'5". He's 25, but still, I didn't realize 6'5". But you have all these other guys who probably, they might get their shot. But then you run into somebody like Brock Purdy. I want to say Brock Purdy was on the 70. Nah, he might have been higher than 70 on this list. But let's even go in prior years, right? So my thing is, your quarterbacks are always, you at least have one quarterback ranked in the top, as the top quarterback or within the top 10. Because even in 2023, you have Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, even Will Levis, which was a major miss. But I look here. And as soon as he went to the SEC, he struggled. Anthony Richardson, and then you go to Hendon Hooker. But Hendon Hooker's 27, so 2 years, he's been a 25-year-old senior. So that could have been, I'm pretty sure the analytics didn't help him there at all anyway. But, and then you keep going. But the reason I say it gives me cause to pause, what year was it? What year was it? Was it 20? I think it was 20. No, because it's Burrow, so that means it's the year after. No, if it's not the year after. Was it 2022, really? Dang it. Yeah, okay, so 2022. Man, I should have just went next year. This is the reason that scares me. Because Malik Willis was the top-rated quarterback, but his PFF rank is 30 in that year. And then you have Sam Howell, 34, Desmond Ridder 41, Kenny Pickett 42. This might be the year of Brock Purdy. Let me scroll down. Yeah, Brock Purdy's 165 here. And quarterbacks is so hard to tell. It might just be the system for Brock Purdy, but I honestly still can't tell what makes Brock Purdy just better than everybody else in this class. And then everybody else, Skylar Thompson, who's got a little bit of playing time. I even remember De'Aaron King. I'm pretty sure he's not playing right now. But, like, these guys really haven't done too much in the league. So, that's the only thing that scares me with Cam Ward, with him not being ranked like the number one player on PFF's board. And actually, let's go back to that 2022, because I would like to see who is the number one player on that board that year. You have Aiden Hutchinson. Sure. All right, so let's see. Who's our first offensive player that's fantasy relevant? Because I see Evan Neal there. Jameson Williams, who just actually turned it on this year, because he would have been a bust at that spot too. Anybody else though? Drake London. Okay. Garrett Wilson. Is Olave in this class then? If Garrett Wilson in there? Okay, yeah, Garrett Olave. So you have all these Sky Moore. Ooh, that's a big miss right there though. 22. And PFF, I want to say when I was looking at his metrics with Sky Moore, PFF had him highly graded, but he went to such a small school, which is not necessarily the worst thing, but if you look at this receiving grade versus man, contested catch, yards per route run, everything looked good with him. Played out wide majority of the time. Yeah, everything, when you look at him analytically, looked good. It just didn't translate. That's the thing. It really didn't translate. So you go into it. I'm not going to go scroll through everybody, but let's get into the class for today, because that's what I want my main focus to be. Let's go back to the quarterbacks, because we have our top quarterback seems to be Cam Ward. Okay, which is fine. In PFF, they write their own things on it. Shadur seems to be the number 2 on PFF, and then there's a big jump. And what I noticed on here, PFF doesn't have Jackson Dart even rated like their 5th quarterback, which is very interesting to me. But Shadur is at 45. Jalen Milroe, then it jumps all the way to 100. You have Will Howard, Riley Leonard, then Jackson Dart, and then Tyler Shuck, or I think that's what they pronounce it. I thought it was Show, but I guess it's Shuck. So, but the thing is, I like seeing this from quarterback, from being a 91 grade on PFF the year before, then 92 grade. So I personally like that, but I don't know why PFF doesn't like it though. So I'm not sure why. Because especially when you have like Riley Leonard and you have Will Howard, who don't even touch the PFF grades that he does. Really, only Cam Ward really does, for real. So I'm not sure. Because I believe he's a better thrower of the ball. He's a better thrower of the ball than Milroe. Milroe has a better deep ball, I believe, though. Because I think when you look at Milroe, let me see. Where's his deep passes? Deep yards, 892. Let's see, 892 deep yards. Let's see Jackson Dart's. And my thing is, Jackson Dart didn't even have his best receiver. Yeah, Jackson Dart was number 1 of 15-17. So I'm not sure why PFF doesn't have him rated high at all. But I believe NFL scouts do. And this is their final actual board that they just updated yesterday. So I don't know. I'm not sure what to take with this information. And what I do know is, in typical years in fantasy, how you draft a quarterback 1, I'm not doing that. Yeah, in the dynasty leagues, yeah, definitely not doing that. I'm just gonna sit there and wait on that. But let's get off quarterback. Let's go wide receiver. So Tet has been my one for the longest. PFF kind of makes me feel good about saying that. I'll say that much. Make me feel good about it. Analytically, it looks like he was better last year than this year, and he's still the 4th ranked player in PFF's grade, even though it seems like everybody has Golden over him, or some people have a Mecca and just keep knocking Tet down. But Tet, 6'5", I believe he's bigger than 212. But the contested catch thing, my thing is, all right, so people's like, you can't separate, but grade versus man coverage is PFF was graded 89, and I know last year was graded pretty decent. His receiving grade is still good. Yards per route run solid. It's not at 3 like how I would like it, but still it's near 3. And then contested catch rate is 60% but he's had 18 contested catches. So 60%, what is that? Like, that's at least, 25 maybe? 25, that might be too many. But somewhere around that range. So that, I think people are messing up on Tet. I think they're gonna rate it too low, in my personal opinion. I think Tet's a better receiver. You can see the back-to-back years. Everybody keeps saying he has a bad quarterback. And if he has a bad quarterback and he's still putting up these numbers, I know he's the focal point of offense, but if he's still playing with a bad quarterback, imagine if he does play with, typically any quarterback that he plays with from here on out should be better than the guy he just played with at Arizona. So I clearly think he's the number one receiver. Seems like everybody else doesn't know. Luther, who has fallen down draft boards, he's still 15 on PFF's rank. You can clearly see his sophomore season was better than his junior year. You have a Mecca. Also, PFF had him ranked higher his sophomore year than his past 2 years, but I want to say he was injured his junior year. But Mecca is more of the thing is with the Mecca, he played with other like top receivers. So that's what I don't really, it's not to say like his PFF grade doesn't matter, because it does, but that's where like, okay, he probably didn't get all the opportunity that he possibly could have. And that's what I'll say about a Mecca. Golden, analytically, he doesn't really have a good PFF year, because 80 is what PFF looks at. And if we dive into it analytically, his receiving grade 75 is okay but not good. Yards per route run is 2.1, but when we start looking at career, this is actually the highest it's been. His contested catch rate, I do like that. And that's on 11 contested catches. I do like that a lot. 61%, yeah, I'll take that any day. And then you have his grade versus man coverage, which I don't understand. If he ran a 4.2, 4.29, why is PFF having graded only a 65? Now, they still have him as 22nd ranked player. But, so let's take you back a few years, because, so last year, we had Brian Thomas, who I wasn't particularly high on. And I'll go to Adonai in a second, because he matches up. These two match up clearly with him. But so you have Brian Thomas, who did not necessarily score high on any grades, really. 61, 75, 2.6 yards per route run, 53% catch rate, contested catches only 7. And so he didn't score high at all. I want to say he had 17 touchdowns. Yeah, 17 touchdowns. But he also played with Malik Neighbors, and that's why I'm giving the same reason I'm giving a Mecca some grace is the same reason I'm giving Brian Thomas some grace, because they played with some great receivers. Now my thing with Bond is he really didn't, and that's where I look at Adonai Mitchell. Now the only thing about Adonai Mitchell, he did not play with a good quarterback when Anthony Richardson was playing. Now he did have Flacco throwing the ball a few times, and it's not like he ever really popped off, if I remember right. But if I look at Adonai Mitchell's, if I'm just looking at his grades, right? 1.7 yards per route run, don't like that. Contested catch rate, don't like that. Grade versus man, I do not like that. So it's like nothing. I don't understand how these fast guys aren't separating. So it really must mean how people run routes, and it seems like that should be a priority over everything. But it doesn't seem to be all the time. So this is like my two people I'm looking at now. The thing is, both of these receivers are a lot bigger than Golden. So I'm not sure why PFF's not letting me get out. Okay. Yeah, both these receivers, 6'4", both of them? Yes, both of them are a lot bigger than Golden. So let me see if I can find somebody else. Because I don't want to look at Ladd, because like the PFF grade, so that's like when people were down on Ladd, right? If you look at Ladd's yards per route running, all those numbers, 3.26. And you're looking for anything over 3 is great. Test catch rate, 40. I don't really care for it, but it's not the worst. Grade versus man, that's not necessarily the best either. Not sure why PFF didn't really have where it's at. The receiving grade was good, though. I did like that. But the thing about Ladd, though, he played with Brock Bowers. So my thing is you got to take all of those things into account. So if he still has a good yards per route run, and that's where I missed on Brian Thomas because I was looking mainly at the PFF grades. And with Ladd, I definitely took more of a shot just because he went to Chargers offense. Brian Thomas, I should have a lot more Brian Thomas. But let's go to somebody like Keon Coleman, right? So Keon Coleman, very similar. What they called him a contested catch guy. But from everything I see on here, it's like he caught 10 catches, right? But at a 33% clip, that means he had 30 opportunities. And if he only caught 10 for 30, that's not a good number. I don't know. So that's my thing about that. So that wasn't good to start off with. Yards per route run, bad. Receiving grade, not good. Grade versus man is okay, but not really good. Drop rate was good. I like that. But yeah, it wasn't really a good season for him. He still got drafted, had got good draft capital and whatnot, but it wasn't good season for him. Let me see if there's anybody else that's around the. Can't really look at Ricky because Ricky got shot. Jalen Polk. Let's look at Jalen. Yeah, because Jalen came on strong later in that year, and this might be the matchup we're looking at. And Jalen has better numbers than Matthew Golden in almost everything. According analytically. So we have receiving grade 76, 2.29 yards per route run. And again, all these numbers are with PFF. If you can't clearly tell, but we can look at everything. Contested catches, you got 13, 54% catch rate on contested catches, 74 grade against man. And honestly, I was kind of high on him because he played with Rome Odunze. So it's either. And the thing is, Rome Odunze is rated high up here. So either Polk just needs a season to acclimate, or those Washington guys weren't really it. And I don't think that's the case. So a true buy low would be Polk, but that's a gamble. That's a gamble for sure, because I don't know if the Patriots are really seeing him like that. But I thought in the offseason that he was doing good, him and Javon Baker. But okay, let's go to some prior years to get on this, talk about Golden. Let's go to 2023. I just want to see if there's any profiles that match up to his that are similar. Jackson Smith, he only played 60 snaps. That's why it looks like that. That's the season you want to look at. Jordan Addison, still higher. Quentin Johnson, 6'3". I'm trying to look for a guy that's in that 5'10", 5'11 range. I would say he played in the slot. Zay Flowers actually is kind of similar, to be honest with you. Let me look at this, because this could make me. But Zay Flowers had been productive before, had he not? Maybe not. All right, let's look at this, because this might be able to change your mind. But the thing is, I know Zay Flowers was fast. Okay, let's see. Receiving grade 76. Drop rate was actually 10, which is terrible. Contested catch rate 58%, 2.2. And this is very similar to Golden, actually. So let's actually take a look at this. Let's see what first look says, if PFF has anything. He wins with his quickness, move a weapon, what he can improve setting up his routes. Okay, that's pretty accurate, if I had to say so. They had him T.Y. Hilton. It's pretty close. I'm not gonna lie to you. Now he's had the thing is Zay. At least he had some solid seasons under the belt. The thing with Golden doesn't really have. Golden really just has this one season. That's 74. But the thing with Golden is when they compare him, it's shades of Stephon Diggs. And that's the only thing that scares me if I don't take him. If he turns out to anything like this. Let me see if they have first look. Oh, they do have first look. Okay. Let's see. They say he's going to make him a high-end wide receiver 2. Movement skills, sets his footwork, explosive. Okay, we know that. But, I don't know. He says he's fast, but not a true blazer by NFL standards. Well, 4.29 would be. So, unless he wasn't playing as fast as out there on the field. Now, the thing is with the Texas guys, I wonder, because you did have Xavier Worthy who looked good with the Chiefs, especially the end of the year. But that's more of after Rashi left. I do wonder if a lot of that was Ewers, because a lot of those guys didn't look good with Ewers. But I'm interested to see if, with Archie, if those guys actually start to look pretty decent. Elick, he's only had 2 years. I know he was hurt a good portion. His numbers are decent. The yards per out run is bad. Let's just, especially for somebody looking to be a star. Contested catches, that's probably 14 for 29 or 14 for 30. So they're throwing him the ball, but I don't know. I don't believe he's as high of a player, to be honest with you. The guy who I believe, and I think I put him at my wide receiver 3 or 4. I might move him up to my wide receiver 2, Jaden Higgins. I seriously might, because I was doing some analysis the other day, and his breakout age is, I think it was still 19, and most people are looking for under 20, so that fits that whole bill. And he's really been productive for a while. 747, those would have been sophomore year. 983 junior. 1185 his senior year. He plays on the outside. He wins against man coverage. Receiving grade good. Yards per out run 2.6. Good, not great, but still good. Contested catch rate 58%. I would love to see that. And that's on 14 catches. So that's what, 14 probably out of 26. So I like to see that. I like to see that. Now his yards after catch could be better, but I'm not totally sure how the offense was out there. But I like this. He could play in the slot. Yeah, I think he might be my number 2 receiver. Yeah, I'm definitely. This is the guy I'm going to be targeting in a lot of drafts, because one league and I have 2 leagues I care about, but one of those leagues, I have the 105, and I'm thinking of trading down. If Tet falls to 5, then I'm going to go ahead and take Tet. But if Tet gets taken, I've been debating against Warren and Loveland for the longest. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trade down. If Tet doesn't in there, because that's my only pick. I made a trade where I made a trade with Mike Evans, ETN, my 111. I had the 105 and 111 from a previous trade. 111, a 26 first, and a 26 second for Justin Jefferson. Now I made some other trades early in the year, so I only have the 1.5. That's my only pick that I have right now. So I'm thinking during the draft I might trade down. It is a tight end premium league, so Warren has a good chance to still go. He could go at 5, because honestly that probably would be my pick. I'd probably pick him at 5, but I could take a shot to see if I could trade down to the 1.7, 1.8, maybe even a 1.9, hoping these guys don't take him. And even if they do take him, hopefully Loveland's still there. Because if Loveland's still there, then I think I have a pretty good asset in both of them. That's the only thing I'm thinking about. And then, of course, I can get additional assets, especially if somebody really looking at a running back at that high. And I'll go through it a little bit more here, but I'm higher on Cam Scatterbo for most, and not just because how high he is on the PFF rank, but because he can catch the ball. And I'll go into some other things later. But, yeah, Jaden Higgins might be my number 2. He honestly might be my number 2 receiver. Yeah, 6'4", 215. He's definitely could play the X role. If he could play the slot role at all, that would be just even better. You have Jack Besh next on their list. I'll get into him because I'm excited about the next guy, just for some things I've found. But so you have Besh. So from what I listen to, what I hear, Besh, I guess, had more yards at LSU than Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors, all those guys. But I guess those guys are freshmen. He was playing tight end, I believe he was playing tight end. But there was some other situation that happened. It was the reason why he had more yards than everybody else. But he breaks out. So I think he gets hurt it must be after this year because he plays 8 games. Or he gets hurt during this year. Something happened where he gets hurt. And so he comes back. He actually doesn't have a touchdown that year. That's interesting. He actually plays more slot too. He might have been playing tight end at this spot and then transition to wide receiver, which is pretty solid because that means he has physical toughness. But receiving grade good versus man. Contested catch rate was good. That was on 13 catches, 65%. That is probably 13 for 20. Just shot in dark. 2.44 yards per route run. I like it. Only thing is I'm not sure if he plays like a tight end and is just like wide receiver built, because I know they say 6'2", 215. I know he plays strong. The breakout age we don't necessarily like, but we got to take into fact the injury history that Jack Besh had. So he wasn't able to really perform the prior years. But I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure because I saw on Brett Whitefield, his YouTube channel, and he was saying the video was portrayed he's the next Puka Nacua. And I can't see it. I truly and the reason, okay, let me show you the reason I can't see it. So Puka was drafted, 2023? It would have been that Jackson Smith and Jigba year. Okay, so Puka is on, for sure, the second page. And let me show you what Puka looks like on here. He should be like 2 something. Where is he at? There he goes. So, the reason I don't say he's Puka, was Puka a senior? Let me make sure. I believe they got him as a junior. Was he a junior? If he was a junior, that seemed better, but I believe he was a senior. But okay, and he only played 3 games this year. So let's just say he was hurt that year, that he only played 3 games. The reason I don't say he's Puka Nacua, because the receiving grade here is 90.1. The grade versus man coverage 75. Grade on PFF, which is really good. But when you take it into further context, his grade versus zone was number 1. I want to say it was at like 3.53 yards per route run. And number 2, oddly enough, was Rashee Rice. But, no, that means his grade versus zone would have been probably higher. Yeah, because 3.53 is right here. I have to go back and look. But, anyway, against man and zone, his yards per route run was 3.53. Contested catch rate, 50 on that's 5 targets. Who cares? Yards after catch, 7.4. Anything above, honestly, anything above 6 is really good. So 7.4 is good, and that's how you know how tough and physical somebody really is. So, and he plays on outside. Now, he didn't play that many snaps for whatever reason. I'm not totally sure if he just if he was just injured a lot, because he only played 9 games this year. Actually, Romadunze told us he was injured a lot, and that's why he had to transfer to BYU, because he started off in Washington. I forgot about that. But even just looking at the analytics of the profile, this is what I see when I look at Puka Nacua. So I don't believe Jack Besh is this, and that's why when I see or hear the next Puka Nacua, I can't roll with it. I just can't. Yeah, because Puka analytically was good for 2 years in a row, and this is just 1. My next guy, Jalen Royals. Now, he's been solid the past 2 years, right under 80, so I'm not going to fault him for that. But he's right here at my threshold. I like 3 to determine success for receivers. He's right at 3. 80 receiving grade. 80 on the grade versus man. Drop rate 5.2. That's good. Not great, but good. Tested catch rate of 53%. It's good. That's probably 8 for 15 probably. So he's good on all these things. And so my thing is, he actually, technically he had a better year the previous year, but it's only because he got hurt this year. I was like, he was on pace, and let's see, in 7 games he had 839 yards, so he was averaging over 100 yards a game, quite easily. So, and he had 6 touchdowns, so he could have easily, not easily because he's behind the mark actually, but he could have got up on the touchdowns depending on how many more games he was going to play, because it looks like the competition wasn't necessarily getting harder. It's getting easier, harder. Let's see. He played USC, and then it looks like he picked it up during this. I guess before he got hurt, he picked it up. But yeah, this is. I like this. And the thing is, so I'm trying to build a model out myself, and I'm trying to see. I'm looking at breakout age. He does not hit the breakout age at all. But when I should bring up, actually, what I'll do, I'll talk through the model, and then eventually I'll actually make a video of it and put it on the channel once I work out the kinks, but I probably should do that here pretty soon. But when I'm looking at Jalen Royals, when I just put the numbers in for the model, he was wide receiver 4, because Ted was first, Hunter was second. I keep forgetting Hunter as the wide receiver, and Hunter was second. Jaden Higgins was third, and Jalen Royals popped up at number 4, and it threw me off, because when I look at Jalen Royals, let me see what I got for him. I got Higgins there. Where did I put Jalen Royals at? And this is there we go. Okay. So he doesn't hit the under 20 threshold. His dominator rating for his best season was 38.8%. You like to see that over 30. That was the other good thing about Higgins, by the way. His receiving yard share was 34.5%. I would say the marks, because I want to say that one was supposed to be over 25, and that was crushed that mark easily. Best season, I would say he had 1,000 yards, 15 touchdowns. We know he got injured. Had 3.0 yards per hour run. Catch rate of 73.9 in 2023. Yak ability, what we like to see, at 7.9. So that means he's physical. And so, not saying he's the next Puka, but he, in my opinion, is closer to the Puka Nacua, the Cooper Kupp, than somebody like Jack Besh. Jack Besh, I believe, just because he's white, is getting compared to them. And Puka, I don't think, is Puka considered white? Maybe he is. I'm not sure. But I would consider him more Hawaiian than anything. But to me, Jalen Royals would be closer into that range. Now, the injury thing and the injury risk is something you have to watch out for. But, let's go into a few other things with him. Okay. So if we, RAS score, that's cool. I believe he had a 9, but, not truly worried about that. But the thing is so the breakout age, minor flag. Okay. The foot injury, is a concern, of course, but my profile has him in the highly productive non-Power 5 athlete. Now, I would say he's medically cleared. I would say similar to prospects like Cooper Kupp. So that's the thing. He just broke out later, but he's been productive for the past 2 seasons. And his age, how old is he? Because I want to say he's 22, right? Is he 23 yet? Yeah, he's a young 22. Honestly, okay. And what I need people to understand. So somebody like him and Tet are the same age. Tet is 22. Jalen Rose is 22 and 0.1, so that could be 1 month, 2 months, whatever. They're the same exact age. Just one's a senior, one's not. I want to say Higgins is probably close to him as well. Higgins is 22.3. These guys are the same age. I think people in their heads, they gotta get that out their heads. Yeah, the only real young person on here is Luther Burden. So that's what makes me. I'm like, ugh. So he's young for real. Like he just turned 21 a few months ago. Yeah, but Tet, you look at Tet's 22. Tet's older, and it was the same conversation I had with Marvin Harrison and Odunze last year. Yeah, because they're like 4 months apart, and people were acting like it was like a whole year or whatnot. They're 4 months apart. So yeah, you really look at these guys' ages. You're like, oh, yeah, one guy's number one guy's he's ranked 60 on the list, but they're like, oh, he's way older. No, he's a month or maybe a month or two older. That's it. He just played in college a little longer, but it looks like he was hurt this year anyway, so it doesn't even truly matter. So I think, yeah, my model has Jalen Royals rather, number 2, and the thing is, I tried to make a couple of models. I've been trying different things and different avenues and whatnot, but his name and Higgins' name keeps popping up on my list. Those are the two names that pop up on my list every single last time. So I'm starting, not necessarily starting to believe it, but I'm starting to put more thought into it. So he's somebody I might. So remember that 105 pick I was talking about? What I'm going to probably try and do is probably try to trade down to see who has like the 110, 111 in my draft. And the crazy thing is, I need running back. I need running back bad in that league too. But if I can get Jaden Higgins and Jalen Royals, I think I'm gonna be pretty happy. Yeah, because I think both of these guys actually probably are a lot better than what we think they are. Yeah, because they're not as old as you really think somebody that age would be. You have Kyle Williams, who's come on strong of late. 6 foot 186. His grade versus man was actually amazing this year. Contested catch rate on 10 catches. What would that be? What was that like 10 for? Let's go 17. 10 for 16, 10 for 17, somewhere around there. But 2.7 yards per route run, 82 receiving grade. I like that. But it seems like this was his best year. I think when I looked it up, I want to say his breakout age. Somebody had it actually earlier. Like his breakout age was, when I was looking it up, it was like when he was like 19, I think. Which I don't necessarily have that right here in front of my face. Let me see. Yeah, they have his breakout age, his freshman season actually. So I'm not sure what happened, if he got injured afterwards, or I'm not sure what happened. But it seems like he's come on strong this last year. Drop rate edging into that bad range, but it's according to Matt Harmon, it's fixable. You have yards per route run, contested catch rate, like all that. Yards after catch, like I said, we like that. Just shows you the physicality of people. So then he's played with Cam Ward, but he would have played with Cam Ward this year, and he wasn't really that great this year, analytically anyway. I'm not sure how he played with Cam, but yeah, he wasn't great analytically. But it looks like he played in the slot a little bit. Probably be playing the slot more in the NFL. Who do they have him comp to? Oh, they don't. First look. Williams undersized. Nope. Yeah, they don't have him comp to anybody. Okay, let me see if I got him comp to anybody. Nope. Oh, I forgot. That's his red flag. He's not athletic. I think he ran a 4.4, but yeah, his explosion or something like, because they got his RAS score at 6.2. That's interesting. So is he not explosive? But he can run a 4.4? That's weird. Okay. My next guy on the wide receiver trail anyway. This is the guy I want to be good, but I'm not sure if he is, because I just knew my model was going to make him good, and he wasn't. One model, I've had a few models that he's been good. Then I have other models that he's not. And then I have some others that he's okay. Like this model I'm referencing now, he is wide receiver 10 on that model. And wide receiver 10 behind Matthew Golden and Elick Ayomanor, who I both probably won't pick up in a rookie draft. So, man, the reason the profile, it just, it hurts me to be like, to not even, so technically he's been good all 3 of these years. These 2 years he's been at Ole Miss, 88.5, 89.7. Like, what more are you asking for from a profile perspective? Gray versus Man, 95. Yards per route run, 5. 61.5% contested catch rate. How many catches was that? 8? So what is that? 8 probably for what? Not 15, but probably 14 or 13. Yeah, plays out wide. And for me personally, I love to see the receivers that play out wide just because I think they could play both. If you can play out wide, if you can win out wide, you can win in the slot. Because you have like Thielen come in the slot now because he's older. Diggs goes in the slot now because he's older. But yeah, if you went out wide, and the thing is, they say he can't play receiver. That's the weird part about this whole thing. And I don't care about that. Now, they did say he beat up on some bad competition, which he did, but you're supposed to. That's my thing. You're supposed to. LSU, he had decent, but not good. But, yeah, he beat up on bad competition. So what? What about this year? What about, I think the people are forgetting, the junior year. What about the junior year? I'm pretty sure he played some good teams then. But who they have him compared to? Alex Pierce. That threw me off when I saw that. Yeah, I'm like, oof. But I want to say Trey Harris started as a quarterback because everything I read, he was Malik Neighbors' quarterback. And then he converted over to a wide receiver. So, hey. So the thing, man, I feel like he should be good because he's shown he's been good. He has shown it. So I think he could be good. Why doesn't my model like him? There's a reason, and I don't necessarily agree, but I want to listen to my model, but I don't necessarily agree with it. They say his breakout age is late, 20 and a half. Okay, he missed it by half a year. Who cares? Best dominator season, 35.8, 27.6 receiving yard share. Okay. Productive career. Yes. He missed time with injury. That's a knock. Efficiency. Yes. Elite. That's my thing. Analytically, he is the man. It's just everything else. The red flags. He had a knee injury or his knee surgery in 23. I didn't know that. Ankle injury. Oh man, and it's just saying his route tree needs a separation. I don't know about the separation, but it seems like to me he's getting by people. So I'm not totally sure about that part. Yeah, but yeah, my model for whatever reason doesn't like him. I like him more than my model. So I'll probably try to scoop him up, but oh man. But like his profile, if I miss on him and he turns to be like something good, I'm going to be upset. Because he was one of the players that I was targeting early on. Now, if he goes like 1-7, I won't necessarily be upset. But I'm saying if he falls to the second round and because one league I have the 2-3, and I'm debating whether, if I can't trade down, I'm debating whether if I take him or Jalen Royals, and I take Trey Harris. And I take Jalen Royals, and Trey Harris becomes a star, that's when I would get upset. But let's see. Restrepo, honestly, just getting a back knock because of his 40 time. But, honestly, my model knocked him down because of that. But I don't think he's a 4.8 guy, but he was solid last year. Honestly, he just plays the slot, so he's going to be like a slot-only guy, which, I don't know how much you can do only playing the slot at that size anyway. So we'll see. Jalen Noel, another guy, primarily a slot. He can play the outside though. From what you see here, 133 shares out there, 339 in the slot. So I would say he could win yards per route run, contested catch rate, all that good stuff. But the reason that gives me cause to pause on these slot guys with good numbers, let me take you up to my favorite, one of my favorite receivers last year. And this is really before I got into Dynasty and whatnot. Malik Washington. See this, 91.1. Now, when you start looking at his numbers, I'm like, oh, this man is destined for greatness. And people are sleeping on him. 92.4. 88.7 grade versus man. 3.15 yards per route run. 64.7% catch rate. And that's on 11. That's 11 contested catches. I'm like, people are sleeping on this dude. But then I look here. He plays primarily slot. 31 outside. So that's what scares me. That honestly is what scares me. Because somebody like him, which he could still potentially be a good receiver. I think he needs either Tyreek or Waddle to leave, and it'll probably be Tyreek before Waddle. But he started older because he would have been 23 at this point in the draft. So yeah, I guess I'll have to give it a year just to make sure. But yeah, this profile is what scares me because I just knew he was going to be something. But then I just started realizing slot usage and how big of a contributor that is to a player's performance, especially if they can't play out wide. And I remember Steve Smith talking to Malik Washington about it. It was like, can you win out wide? And then to me, I wasn't thinking anything about it because I'm over here just looking at the analytics. I'm like, Malik Washington is amazing. Not realizing that he only played in the slot. And so some of the numbers can be easier to get, especially yards after catch and whatnot. But we'll see. But Noel, he played out wide a bit. So, and the reason going to Restrepo, this is the reason: 448, 47, 395, 21. So he can win against man coverage, and that's fine. But we just saw Malik Washington have literally better numbers than Xavier Restrepo. Better numbers, about the same size: 5'10", 198. Malik Washington probably was 5'10", 191. So yeah, I don't think it's sad to say. Restrepo, he could potentially be something, but probably not early on. And then it depends on draft capital for him too. So Savion, he was a lot higher on PFF boards. I'm glad they knocked him down just because all these numbers are bad except the contested catch rate. But it looks like 8 for 9, and maybe those are goal line or red zone work. 2.1 yards per run. Don't necessarily care for that. Yeah, really don't care for Savion. Probably won't leave with him in any drafts. Isaac Tesla. He is popping up on boards for whatever reason. I'm not sure why, but I want to say he was in somebody. I was reading. Matt Harmon was talking. Was he talking about Daniel Jeremiah's? Somebody's board, but he's in the top 100 for whatever reason. Not sure. Analytically, clearly says he shouldn't be there. Torrey Horton. If he would have came out last year, he would have been my sleeper. But he might be, honestly, a better sleeper this year. It's tough because everybody says his wide receiver class is bad. But Torrey Horton, somebody like him, he had a good yards per route run last year. It was good this year again. Receiving grade good. Grade versus man's okay. I like him a lot. I was listening to a podcast, not a podcast. Who was I listening to? I think the Stock Exchange. Or Fantasy Stock Exchange, and they were saying just Colorado State guys that actually go to the NFL, they actually pretty productive, which gave me some hope. So I would easily take him in the 3rd round, depending on who's there, and clearly in the 4th round if nobody's taking him. But that's just me. I guess. Oh, do they have the number receiver there? Oh, they do. Okay, I just realized that today. Okay, Tez Johnson, another slot guy. So. He has analytically, good, but other than contested catch rate, but that's only one. Ooh. But yeah, other than that, I'm not truly interested. Isaiah Bond, the Texas guys. I am not interested just because of this. I said 70, 1.7. It's just the profile looks terrible. It just looks terrible. Now, all right. I'm going to get to, I keep saying I want to get to who I want to get to. All right. No, I'm going to go ahead and get to who I want to get to. So Andrew Armstrong, I made a video about it. I'm going to hype him up. I'm going to keep hyping him up until draft time comes. and I'm going to either fourth round picks. I will trade to get a fourth round pick or extra fourth round pick to get him, or I will make sure to scoop him up in any drafts that I don't have a. If it's just 3 rounds of picks, yeah, then I'll just scoop him up and with on my taxi squad and just pay $5 to go get him. I think when we talk about steals of the draft, I think this is him. Similar to Jalen Coker, which I'm going to get to his profile. Jalen Coker's profile is probably a little bit better, to be honest with you. But Jalen Coker did go to a smaller school. Andrew Armstrong, he transferred from, I believe it was Texas A&M Southern, something like that, or Texas AMCO, something like to that effect. Right? Okay, so and it was in this year. And now the thing is, you got to remember, so I believe he gets hurt, COVID, and that's the reason he's 24 right now. So the breakout age is just going to be bad. All right, I'm just going to come out and say that it's going to be bad. But I'm not truly worried about that. First year at Arkansas, and I think he's playing out wide, which I like. First year, 764 yards, good. This year, 1140. Now, he only has 1 touchdown, which nobody likes. I don't even like that. But that could be just bad quarterback play. I don't necessarily know all these players. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of just tapes on people talking about these players. But he still had 1,140 yards. That was on 78 catches, 118 targets. Played out wide primarily. 83.3 grade versus man. He's actually very good versus zone as well. Receiving grade almost at 90. 2.8 yards per out run. Contested catch rate 62%. And how many catches? That was on 18 catches. So let's see if I do some math. Is that like 18 for? No, 30 is too high. Maybe 32. So yeah, he's a really good player. Just analytically, he's a good player. I think he just was in a bad situation, but I've been targeting him for a while. When I say a while, like in November, December, that time frame. So yeah, I remember I was just reading the comments on somebody's video, and they mentioned it. I was like, ooh, please stop talking. Please. And then I wound up making a video. Do they have analysis of him? They don't. That's fine. PFF's so disrespectful. But I think he is the Jalen Coker of this draft. Now, Jalen Coker did have better numbers, but let's go ahead and get to Jalen. So Jalen, where is good old Jalen? There he goes. They still don't even have. That's what I said. Just disrespectful. Not even the age. Now, why I say Jalen has better numbers: 89.8, 82.5. That's already better on the final 2 years. But he was at a smaller school, and don't forget, I guess technically his sophomore year or redshirt sophomore. I don't know. I'm not sure with Andrew Armstrong. But the other year was still in the 80s. So, and Jay Coker was at 68. But let's forget that part. All right. Now, PFF was wrong about this. Limited athleticism. They're definitely wrong because I want to say he had a 40-inch vert. So, definitely wrong about that part. But that's fine. Receiving grade, 90.6. Yards per run, 3.51. 52% contested catch rate. Grade versus man, 79.4. You know, decent. I'm going to say decent to good. Nothing great. Not 89 like my man Andrew. Drop rate, 3.3. You know, solid. That's on 12 catches. Okay. So, just looking at this, yards per out run, clearly Jalen Coker had an advantage. Definitely. Catch rate, Andrew Armstrong. Receiving grade, Jalen, but barely. Grade versus man, Andrew, clearly. Drop rate, I can't remember. I'm not going to lie to you. But, again, when you look at Jalen Coker primarily played out wide. All 3, probably 4 years. And he played slot some, but not that much. So when you look at these guys, that's my thing. You have to see where they align. Now, is it always going to be true? No. A.J. Brown played primarily slot. Justin Jefferson played primarily slot. There's somebody else that played primarily slot that I'm forgetting. Josh Downs, I know he does, but I can't think of who he would have played in college that would have forced him to be in slot. And to be honest with you, Josh Downs really hasn't produced in fantasy just yet, so let's not put his name in there. There's somebody else I am clearly forgetting. Jackson Smith and Jigba. He played primarily slot, but again, he played with other good receivers. Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson. I guess Emeka was on those teams too. So he's played with some other really good receivers. But let's go back to Jalen Coker and Andrew Armstrong. So what I give Jalen the edge on is 3.51 yards per route run. I really like that number, and that number translates, especially when it's over 3. Now, the thing about Coker is I think Coker is just 23. And for whatever reason, they don't have his age on here. I'm not sure why not, but they just don't have his age on here. But I'm pretty sure Jalen Coker is 23. Andrew is 24. So, that's a cause for concern, to be honest with you. But the 4th round pick, let's go ahead and take a shot. Let's go ahead and take a shot. It doesn't, where people tell you go ahead and take a running back, I'm telling you, go ahead and get Andrew Armstrong. I think he is the sleeper of this class, similar to how Jalen was the last class. Let's see, PFF 160. Where's Andrew at? Yeah, final 320. I want to say this year's final 350. Let me look. Yeah, final 350. Let me see where Jalen is. No, not Jalen. Andrew is he 150? No, he's later. 179. It's fine. Puka was later than both of them, so it doesn't matter. But this is my sleeper. I'm gonna stop on wide receivers there because I'm not even sure how long I've gone at this point. But I need to get. I'm sorry. I have to get in one more wide receiver. Elijah Badger. This is another guy. He's an older guy as well. And Pat Brown was the other guy, but Elijah Badger never had 1,000 yards. Puka hasn't either in college, so don't forget that. Never had 1,000 yards, but 20.7 yards per reception is amazing. I heard it was a quarterback issue. Now, I'm not sure if this is good or bad, but 39 out of 61 catches. I'm not sure why his catches were so low in 12 games. But this will explain the yards, why the yards per reception was so high. Advanced analytics, when you look at it, 2.96 yards per run. That's really good. 81.5 receiving grade. Looks like he didn't drop a pass. Grade versus man coverage, really good. Now, the thing about Badger, I'm not sure about his zone, grade versus zone. Because it seems like the zone, especially if, for what I'm learning, when they're playing too high safety in the NFL, you have to be able to be good in zone coverage. Because if you're not gonna be playing. So I'm not sure how good he is in zone, but the reason I like seeing man, because that means I know you can win your one-on-one matchup. And you have to. And to be honest with you, that's the reason they're playing too high, because they believe they can't beat you on the man side of things. Because if not, they just play straight up. But 11 contested catches, 68%. That's amazing, actually. So I like Elijah Badger too. I'm glad I actually saw him before I decided to go to the running backs. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I would, if I have space. Of course, I'm going Andrew first, and then I'm gonna go Elijah. So, and they're both older. They're both in the 24s. Andrew actually will be 25 probably near when the season plays out. But yeah, those are two guys I'm taking a shot on later in drafts. 4th round. I guess if you have a 5th round, yeah, definitely take a shot on those guys. All right, let's look at running backs. And we do still have tight ends, so we'll have some fun today before I clip this up. So, Genty, believe it or not, Genty was actually behind McMillan on the PFF rank for a while. So, I'll get into Genty. So, and to show like just his excellence and why he's number 1. So he's the, other than technically Travis Hunter, he's the number 1 offensive player on PFF right now. So the reason I think is clearly Genty, who should go 1-on-1. Let's go through the numbers. He's been productive every single last year in college. Now he played at Boise State. Okay, I honestly don't care. I don't care. The running backs, yeah, I just need to be productive. rushing grade 96.6. Gap grade 92.1. Elusive grade is 216.5. That's what I need. And 5.25 yards at the contact is amazing. So, yeah, this is exactly what I need. The zone grade is great too. So everything analytically here is great. You look at the yards per attempt, all of them are good. You have 5.3. I guess that's on the low end still. If you're getting 5 yards a carry, pretty sure the coach is still happy. And you see the yards just goes up. With the more attempts, the yards go up. That's honestly the best thing about this. I would say 29 touchdowns. I would say he actually had some reception this year. But the reason I liked him before, he was my running back one before the year because of this part, the 44 catches. Because when I was looking at just running backs in the past, I'm like, which running backs are correlating? And I was like, why was Kyron? When I looked at Kyron, and I'll get back into it. I'm just talking at this point now. What was Kyron 2022? So I'm over here looking at Kyron, like, why was Kyron so good? It doesn't make any sense because analytically, it's not like he's great. I'm gonna say really didn't have, especially even the years before, wasn't great. What did he do well? When you look at the profile, you realize he could catch the football. And I'm like 42 receptions, 359, 35, 311. Now, the thing what I also saw is when they talked about him, where he wins is the pass game. I would say he works. I would say whether it's his work in pass protection or his natural hands, he is going to make an impact on passing downs. He's going to be a pass down running back. At the very worst, he's a third down back. And that's already in technically his rookie year. And I'm pretty sure he was hurt with the Rams his first year. So once they get rid of Cam Akers, nobody knew at the time. Or maybe they had Cam Akers and then they just let him go. But nobody knew at the time. And then all of a sudden, it's the Kyron Williams show. Kyron Williams has been good, actually great the past 2 years. So, Pierre Thomas, wow. So, the thing is, he wasn't a good athlete. And that's what I was trying to figure out. Wasn't a good athlete, analytically, bottom of everybody's board. The bottom. But he could catch the football. And he was good in pass protection. Now, I'm not sure how good Genty is in pass protection, especially because I haven't seen anybody similar to this just yet. But there's a reason I say with the catches part, right? So let's scroll down here. Bucky. All right. So when I was looking at Bucky, I'm like, okay, what made Bucky so good this past year? Because analytically, like, he's tops just with everybody else and honestly better than a lot of people. What made him good, he had 55 receptions, 395. 30 receptions, 297. Okay, we're starting to see trends here now. And now I'm looking like, okay. So this was what I was thinking before. And then, of course, you look at elusive rating and things like that, of that nature. You try to use yards after contact. A lot of people like to see it with 4, but I think 3.6 is probably a better number, to be honest with you. Just because there's some outliers, of course, but because I'm pretty sure Kyron didn't even hit 3.6. But, but the receptions is when I saw that, I'm like, oh, that is a clear indicator because let's look at Jalen Wright. I want to see how many receptions he had last year. And I guess I can go Trey Benson. I'm not sure why I skipped Trey. But 22. Okay, cool. What did Trey have? Now, I'd be interested in Trey at 40 because that would be 20. Okay. So Trey Benson had 40. Blake Corum, I already know he didn't have any. But I think this is one of the reasons I was higher on Jonathan Brooks. And I know he got hurt, but a lot of people were because he had 25 catches in those 11 games. So maybe he ends up with 30. Okay. But I think that's why a lot of people were high on Jonathan Brooks because it was like, okay, we got a guy that can do both. Blake Corum, I'll show you this. But Blake Corum probably 16 on 18. Yeah, he wasn't doing too much. Yeah, but he came back off of an injury. The thing is, I like seeing the running backs with like the high running back grades. Um, so somebody like Blake Corum, it's tough with him being behind Kyron because I'm not sure if he'll get a chance to actually play, especially if they sign him to a contract. But yeah, that's what's going to be the interesting part. Tyron Tracy, he was the one that converted to wide receiver at Purdue. He actually didn't even have that many catches, which is absolutely insane. Did they do analysis on him? They didn't. I wish they did. But he was elusive. That is good. Yards after contact was good at that. Crazy thing, he didn't really catch the ball. Yeah, and that's probably why he wasn't even high on the list. Just looking at that. But I want to say it was his first year actually running the ball for real? Yeah, it might have been, because if you look at the attempt, 17-8, yeah, I think that might have been his first attempt actually at running the ball. And that actually explains a lot in NFL when he's fumbling, but he is already 25, so like his last contract or after his contract, he'd probably be 28, 29. So team probably won't be worrying too much about it. It might honestly be more of a James Robinson case with him. Okay, let's go back. Okay, yeah. So Genty clearly my number one. Hampton, I had on my number two. Reason behind that was 38 catches, 373, 29 to 22. I'm like, he can catch too. So that's why I liked him. 1660 yards, 1500, and he can rush. So that was my reasoning behind that. Yards after contact, he's number two because clearly Genty's number one. Because Genty is like a 1900 yards after contact, which is absolutely amazing. But yeah, he's always been my number two back. And the combine, and he was slipping too, which I was loving until he ran that 4.46. Once he ran the 4.46, I knew. Yeah, everybody slotted to him. Now everybody wants to put him at 1-2. Me personally, I still have Tet 1-2. But everybody put him at 1-2 now. And because he was always going to be my third overall player. So, like I said, in that league where I have the 1-5, I thought he was going to slide it to 1-5, and I was going to clearly take him there. I need a running back in that league anyway. But I thought he was going to slide. He ran that 4.46. I didn't care if he ran a 4.6. I was still going to take him. He still would have been my third overall player. But, yeah, no. But, yeah, everybody's on to him now. He is a little bit older, though, because Genty, again, it's like that Luther Burden and Tet situation. Luther Burden's the young guy, and the Tet's the old guy. Marion Hampton's the older guy. Ashton Genty, younger guy. You just got to remember that. You have Cam. I like Cam a lot. I need to make another running back model. My running back models don't necessarily like Cam, for real. Well, they like him, but they don't have him as high as I do, because I believe he should be a third running back off the board, but my models don't like that. So I'm not going to like just rig my models to make sure he's third. I just, it just makes me pause a little bit, because I'm like, okay, I need to check, I need to see. So when I'm looking at yards, 1,700 yards, 44 receptions, 543. I love it. I love that. And it looks like he had a down year this year. He must have just got Arizona State because he was at Sacramento State. And I guess he was getting adjusted and then had a good year this year. In Sacramento State, he was pretty dominant, catching the ball. The thing is, he can catch. And my thing is in pass protection. That's what I want to know, because there was a video, Shades of Kyron Williams. That would make me draft him number 2. But my thing is with him, I did see some of his pass blocking. It was absolutely terrible. So I don't know. Dylan Sampson, he might be the youngest running back in the class. I got to see how old Quint Allen is, but I think he might be the youngest one. Solid. He doesn't catch the ball, though. Weight, don't necessarily care too much about weight anymore. Of course, I don't want you to be 180. I think Marcus Yarns is like 5'10", 5'11", 180. I don't want that. But then, I say I don't want it, but then Marcus Yarns comes out to be a player. Then like, see, told you. But this year he breaks out. He was playing behind Jalen Wright last year. Don't forget that. And he still put up decent numbers. This year he gets the lion's share of the work, and he still puts up good numbers. So Dylan Sampson is good. Caleb Johnson, same thing, young guy. He's really only had one year of true production, which is fine, but just remember that. He is elusive. Well, I guess this year he had solid production. This has been his freshman year. Because 777 yards isn't nothing to sneeze at. But he definitely didn't catch the ball that year. So I wouldn't say he's a big catcher of the ball, but he's fairly elusive, good yards after contact. So, decent guy. Travion Henderson. What I got to tell people. Travion is he younger than any juniors on here? Oh, he's basically same age as Martin Hampton. So, need people to remember that. Because Quinshawn is young, just like Ashton. Okay. Travion, he's splitting work, so it makes it tough. Splitting work is still getting 26 catches. I like it. Can't remember, was he hurt this year? Maybe hurt both of these years. But he's good numbers too. So RJ Harvey, I know I'm skipping Quinshawn because Quinshawn, he has good PFF like overall grades, but the yards after contact elusive rating, that scares me. But maybe it shouldn't, but it does. Yeah, because I don't understand why. And maybe it's because he was splitting carries. Maybe he was only like in certain packages, maybe? I'm not sure. But RJ Harvey, when I say I look at a guy, I'm like, oh, I want to make sure I leave every draft if I can with him. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. And now he's older. He's on the Andrew Armstrong side of older. He's like 24 and a half. But for a 24 and a half guy who is elusive, so yards of contact's pretty decent. When I was diving deeper into the metrics, his breakaway run percentage is like almost 50% for his career. Yeah, he's somebody I want. Can catch the ball too. Yeah, I think he's pretty decent. He's going to go in the third round of the draft. So I'm going to try to see if I can catch him in that back half of the second, depending on who goes off the board. Of course, now because Cam sometimes slides down draft boards. If Cam Scottaboo's there, I'm taking Cam. But RJ Harvey, I'm looking forward to that. Damien Martinez, I'm still trying to work on how good he is. Because analytically, it shows he's good, and he's been good basically every year he's been in college. He's averaged over 6 yards per attempt. He gets his touchdowns. Doesn't really get too many receptions, but he does pretty decent with them. Yards out of contact's good. So it'd be something I can keep my eye on because he could be potentially pretty good. I'll just build my list. DJ Giddens, every year was good except this year analytically. But he's been good though. Yeah, he's been a very productive player. He had more catches. Maybe they're doing off the receptions. Maybe because he was 20 for 32 this year, but 30 for 40 this past year. I think it might be that because I remember reading that somewhere. But anyway, when you look at just DJ Giddens' numbers, it's at the point. It's like, okay, he's putting in some work now. Yeah, 1,300, 1226, 519, and he only had 89 attempts on the 519. So I wouldn't even be too worried about that. So he's been putting up good numbers. I like it. Devin Neal, Jarquez. I'm trying to see if there's anybody. I just wanted to look at Marcus Yarn just to see. Yeah, I was right. 5'11", 183. Did he catch the ball? Yeah, he really didn't catch the ball for real. So I don't know if he's really been on board. Taj Brooks actually pops up on a lot of my list. Because I'm trying to make a model for every single last one of these individually, but it's a lot harder process than I thought it was going to be. I thought I would just be able to plug some numbers in and make a model. With 1,500 yards, 15. Yeah, Taj. I'm pretty sure Taj is senior, but redshirt senior. Okay, but yeah, I think he pops up. He pops up on a lot of stuff. Jordan James, pretty decent. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else. LaQuint Allen. Oh yeah, LaQuint. Actually, he's not younger than the guy from Tennessee. I don't know why I can't think of his name right now, but LaQuint. The main reason I like him, like how I mentioned the catching earlier, when you look at it, 64 for 78, 40 for 46. If I had to take on a bet, this is like the Kyron Williams thing right here. This is exactly it. I would say you look at the analytics, you're like, these are terrible. Then winds up being a good player. The thing would be, is he good in pass protection? See, here we go. Here we go. Look at this. Look at this. Allen lacks the agility to project as a starting caliber runner, probably similar to Kyron. But his receiving background, long arms, massive hands, and willingness in pass protection make him a strong day 3 candidate as a third down specialist. Who does that sound like? We just went through this, people. We just went through this. He's gonna have to go off he's gonna have to go up my boards. Because we're literally just reading the same thing. He's gonna have to be a stash. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out how to stash him or trade for him. I'm glad I came in here and read that. I probably need to go and read more of these profiles. I probably should have been doing that. Jeez, what have I been doing? Just life. Anyway. Yeah, LaQuint Allen, yeah, you have just entered, like, he really has. And it's honestly, it's because of the catching. That's what I'm primarily focused on. Dang, Ollie Gordon has fallen like crazy. Ollie Gordon can catch a little bit. 1,700 to 850. Now, they said the offensive line was trash this year. But, I don't know. I don't know about Ollie. Jacory. There was a guy from, not Lane Larson. What is the guy from? He's from Memphis. I was hoping he showed up on these lists. But I guess not. I think his name's Mario Anderson. Because I did a model one time, and he popped up as, like, my number, like, 6 running back analytically. Let me make sure I got the name right. I'm pretty sure it's Mario Anderson. Yeah, Mario Anderson Jr. It's projected to be a high priority free agent signing in the upcoming NFL draft. Yeah, so they don't expect him to be drafted. Yeah, that's fine. But 5'9", 208, 1,300 rushing yards. That's why I liked him, because he had 50 receptions. Yeah. I was pretty sure. I was like, I know there's a reason I like him. Yeah, but we'll see. Yeah, because I think. Let me see. Do they have some projections where he go? Oh, he's 24, so he's older, but doesn't really matter. 5'9", 202, don't really care. Yeah, that's the thing. He can catch, and that's what I liked. Now, I need PFF to get him in there to see if he's good. 6 on 10 plus yards runs. I'm not sure why he's not even on boards, though. It seems like they have younger players, but for running backs, it shouldn't matter. It really shouldn't. But, okay. Land Larson. I'm not even sure Land Larson. He must have just got on here. Because I've never seen Land Larson on here before. Is he a junior? He's a senior. Okay. 1,400, 1,100, 469. Let's say 65 receptions? Who's this? Land Larson. What school is this? UC Davis? Yeah, this is my first time seeing him on PFF. Land Larson, 17 touchdowns. Let's see, 83 targets, 853. That's absolutely insane. Let's see, his sophomore year, 7'6". And look, I'm over here talking about the guy. The guy over here putting up numbers. 935 yards after contact. Now, the school might not be like nothing crazy, but yards after contact's not that great, not that elusive, but he can catch though. I wonder how fast he is. Do they got analysis on him? They don't. And Donovan Edwards is definitely falling down. And the reason I'm like that, because I'm over here looking at PFF grades, 81, 89, 84. I'm like, who is this? Where did he pop up from? Land Larson. Make sure to put him on your boards. I might have to do a quick dive on Land just to figure out where he's coming from, because all of a sudden he's on boards that he was not on at first. Not sure where it came from. Jacory is another guy that I just need to look into. I think he had a decent Senior Bowl, and I guess the year before, but I think it was like a playing issue with him. what was it? Not scholarship. I can't think of it. NCAA or something like that with his eligibility that he couldn't play this year. But I didn't realize Ja'Cory was 24 as well, though. So, but honestly, running back, don't care. They just need him for one contract before they get the next one. Okay, last position, because we are looking for fantasy. We're looking at tight end. So, honestly, Tyler Warren has fallen down PFF's ranks a little bit. He started, was he ever at 7? No, because Brock was at 7. But Tyler Warren was at, I think he was either at 8 or 9 for a long time. And then he went to 10 earlier last week, and then is now at 12. And Loveland, who actually started the year number 1, then Warren overtook him for the longest time. And Warren, and honestly, Loveland hasn't been close to him until now. This is the first time that Loveland's actually been just like an arm reach distance. Now we have Warren, who we thought was like about to turn 24, but he's about to turn 23, so that's fine. We have Loveland, who just turned 21, 6'5", 245, and then we have 6'6", 261. I heard somebody earlier, it was Brett Whitfield, and I can't remember his co-host, man. It's like data analytics show. I don't know why I can't remember. Man, because the other guy is actually pretty, like, Scott Barrett. Yeah, I was like, he's pretty known in this space. But it was comparing them, when they were talking, they were comparing Tyler Warren. It's like just the body type. It's the Gronk body type, Colston Loveland, Travis Kelce body type. It's like, which one do you want for fantasy? That's honestly, and to be honest with you, I would take either one. So that's why that league I only have the 1-5. I'm comfortable trading down because, and especially if Tyler Warren doesn't get taken at the 1-5, cool. Because what I might do in that league, just because there's some third rounders since I'm just looking at this stuff, I know I could potentially hit on. I'm over here thinking, all right, I'll take some thirds if I need to. Because I do need to get some running backs in this league, and I need to take a few shots on some players. And I might have to make some package deals or whatnot. Probably try to throw Cooper Kupp in a couple of them deals. But yeah, so we'll look at that. So now with tight ends, which scares me, because my number 3 tight end is right here, Harold Fana. PFF grades amazing competition, played good against almost everybody. 1,500 total yards, 10 touchdowns. They have him playing slot snaps, inline snaps. I would say it doesn't matter. I would say receiving grade 96, yards per route run 3.77. That's amazing for a tight end. Run block grade 75, so that's still good. 54.5 contested catch rate. That's really good. It's really good because, all right, let's go to the top guys. All right, Tyler Warren, 61.9%. Cool. Run block grade, not that great. Receiving grade, 93, 2.78 yards per route run. Really good, especially for a tight end. That's what you're looking for. All right, let's go to Loveland. 2.67, yes. Test catch rate, boo. 90.6 receiving grade, good. Run block grade, not that good. So I'm like, Harold Fanning can do everything they can. It's just a lot smaller. But let's go to somebody like Arroyo, right? 1.69 yards per route run. Okay, run block grade, not good. Receiving grade, okay. Let's go to Mason Taylor. 1.23, 59, 69. You know, you're about to catch a trend of 2.02. So why I say he's my 3rd rated one? Because he played against, is this Penn State? Played against him. Who else he played against? That's not Louisville, that's Ball State. I don't know whose school this is. Got to be pretty decent. But anyway, he's played against some good schools and put up some really good numbers. And my thing is, it's not like he's a one-hit wonder his junior year. His sophomore year, he was still number 1 PFF grade because he was ahead of Brock Bowers last year as a sophomore. And that was on 44 receptions, 57 yards. This year, he had 117. So now his athletic score is not what people were looking for. But when I'm looking at these numbers, analytically, he should be the number 1 tight end. All right? He really should be. Now, we'll go ahead and say he's not. just because he didn't play out of Power 5 and his competition was, it was weaker. We know it was weaker. But they got him as a Jonnu Smith, which is fine. But I think he's getting docked because he run funny. Well, my thing is he's been working all this time, so why does it matter now? But Harold Fannin is I think he's a lot better than what this ranking says he is. Now, with tight ends, let me go ahead and put this caveat, which scares me on Harold Fannin as well. PFF, usually after number 50, the tight ends don't really get too good. You might find one or two, but let's go. Brock Bowers, Jatavian Sanders. Then we have Eric All, who was going to be decent. Case Stover, Ben Sinnott, who hasn't shown nothing yet. Jarrett Wiley, Theo Johnson, Jaheim Bell, Dalen Holker. Yeah, you get my drift. All right, let's keep going. 2023. We should run into a Trey McBride situation here in a second. Dalton Kincaid, Michael Mayer. Neither one of them do anything, which is absolutely insane. Darnell Washington, Sam Laporta, Luke Musgrave, Tucker Kraft. Well, Tucker Kraft does something, so maybe I need to make it 100. Luke Schoonmaker, Brenton Strange. Well, you know what? My method might be flawed. Brenton Strange is actually supposed to be good this year. But he ran a 4.7. Hold on. 6'4", 247. My guy's 6'3", 240 maybe. I think he really probably played at 238, 235 maybe. He's not a big tight end, but you don't have to be. Sam Laporta's 6'3", 245. But I guess he ran a 4.59 though. That's a big difference. Yeah, that's a big difference. If Darnell Washington can run, you got to be faster than Darnell. He's basically offensive lineman out there. But okay, yeah. And they had Kincaid, and Kincaid really hasn't shown too much. But Kincaid was an older guy, too. Because he would have been 23, I guess, at this point. Yeah, he would have been about 23 and a half. Yeah, but you would have taken tight ends early in this one. Yeah, it's kind of screwed you over, to be honest with you. Yeah, I guess that's what scares you on tight ends. What do they have him? Dennis Pitta? Okay. Yeah, I wonder who they would comp to him now. Let's see who they had Michael Mayer as. Let's see. Jason Witten. Wow. Some lofty expectations out here. Okay. Well, seeing how my method is flawed, I'm going to have to create a new one. But, all right, we have Tyler Warren, Coastal Loveland. Those are probably the only two, other than Harold Fannin, I'm probably leaving with. Now, a sleeper, let's just say it. Where are you at? Arana Gasson. Now, the reason being, routes per route run, still not good. Contested catch rate is good. Run blocking grade is decent. Receiving grade, good. I just like that he's been solid throughout his collegiate career. Hasn't been great. Still has had 934 yards, 966 yards here. So maybe I won't say sleeper, maybe a guy just to look at to see if he gets drafted in a decent spot. But, all right, this is PFF's big board, good portion of it. So we'll see what actually happens in the draft, which takes place in a couple days, and we'll go from there. But all right, see y'all later.